Hey girl, was I well schooled? Was I subcast? Let's see, was it all on a bet? Was I the best you could get?
Con una producción bastante que inició Nimo, que es sobre The Main Character. O sea, es una historia totalmente no solo abrumadora, sino también divertida. Y me gustaría saber cómo fue ese debut ante, obviamente, en el séptimo arte y también explorar todo lo que es de su carrera.
Okay, Nimo, Jhon always does that. And he always go to the early of the career of the guest. So we are going to start talking about the main character. Yes, back in the 2005, man. If you can remember and tell us something, how was this experience, your beginnings in the industry, we will be very pleased. So tell us about the main character.
So I had just graduated from William Esper Studio, where I got my acting training. And a South Korean gentleman named Chris Yoon found me after school, and he thought I would be good for one particular character in his short film. So I had no experience really doing film. It was my first time. So it happened that he was shooting in my neighborhood in Manhattan. I showed up, and it was very grassroots, very guerrilla style filming. So this was my introduction to being an actor in a film. And it was a very quick experience, but I immediately enjoyed it.
De hecho, Nimo, yo te quiero decir de que hay una historia que se llama Los Catriz. Es que es algo loco, porque es sobre Chinatown, sobre el barrio chino, pero dentro de los Estados Unidos, y en el cual todo lo que abarca lo que es no solo esa población pequeña, sino las creencias. Entonces yo te quiero preguntar sobre cómo ha podido diferenciar o cómo has podido experimentar sobre las películas o las historias más en esta, sobre lo que se muestra, a cómo es la realidad.
Okay, now we move on to 2K3. Jhon watched it, and Jhon wants to know because it talks about Chinatown. And how do you see the maybe the differences or the similarities? I don't know, between what this movie shows and what is the reality. I don't know if in Chinatown or in the USA now, because Jhon feels that this movie deals with very touchy subjects about
Right.
reality. So if you can tell us, will be great.
Sure. With a lot of my earlier work in film, particularly, I wasn't so close to the making of the film. I was brought in for very small parts to play a role, and at that time there was a lot of, we were still coming out of 9/11 to some extent. There was still an impact in 2005, 6, 7, 8, where the world was still talking a lot about terrorism, the impact of all of that. So the movie makers, the filmmakers in New York, and really in this country, were still telling that story. So, which is a complicated story because it comes back to America's involvement in Iran and in Afghanistan. And whether you believe what side you're on, I think it was an opportunity for filmmakers to make a statement, about their opinions about what's happening in the world, and bring some fantasy and fiction into it. And it was an exciting time, and I think we're there again with the pandemic. And the world events bring us closer together. And so I was lucky to be in some films like that.
Bueno, va a sonar divertido porque no sé, Andrés, si recuerdas la época en que estuvo el Zika, la chikungunya y todo eso, que todos estuvimos encamados. Yo me acuerdo que esas noches de Navidad pasaron por Disney Channel la de Jeremy Flynn y El sentido de la vida. Él hizo el papel de Fred y yo me acuerdo tanto de que obviamente estaba tan agripado, tan lleno de malestar que me la vi. Se me pegó la historia y luego se me pasó. O sea, se me alivió un poco por, no sé, pegándose al instante. Yo le quiero preguntar sobre cómo es poder saber de que un personaje como estos ayuda, por ejemplo, a disfrutar familias en Navidad y si sabías sobre esa trivia, sobre que a veces la pasan por Disney Channel.
De hecho, estaba esperando que preguntaras sobre esa.
De-
I was waiting that John asked something about this movie because I love it. And yes, John always surprised me because he got an story with Jeremy Finn and the meaning of life. He was with a flu, with a sickness, and he started watching. Okay, this movie, they always show it in the Disney channels from Latin America, and he started watching it. Of course, you play the role of Fred, and he
Yes.
got. I know the word. I mean, he was with the flu, but he got stuck. And I know that word sucks, but he was so stuck in the watching the movie that at the end he kind of forgot that he was sick. He feel really great. So how do you feel about? I know it's a child's movie, but the power that these movies got with the not only the child's, because I think John was like in the adolescence. Of course, I watched it too. And how do you feel
Yeah.
also that this movie is always a rerun, not only in the States but in Latin America? It's a movie that always made.
I love that you asked about it because for me, being involved in cinema is a great opportunity because you can do something very serious and dramatic, but you can also enter the children's world. And I have a good access. I just worked on Sesame Street. I had a role on Sesame Street this year. So to work with children and enter their adventurous spirit, it reminds me of my own childhood. And that was an adventure, a New York adventure that these kids were on in that movie, and so I just to be a part of it and join that adventurous childlike spirit, especially in New York, was a thrill for me. I love it. I write music, and a lot of the music I write is from my childhood. The imagination of whatever childlike wonderment you have is fun for me. So I loved being on that set. I loved working with the director and the two kids. So I'm glad Jhon, you got to have your spirits lifted by it. That's what movies are for, right?
And his health, his health get better.
And his health.
I will break the promise because I need to translate that because I always love when our guests tell like exclusives. It's great to know that you will be in Sesame Street, man. So I will tell John.
Yes. This I play a father for two young children, and we work with Elmo in the scene. And so this is coming November 5th. The episode I'm in with the two children, and it's to educate the kids. So the scene we're doing is teaching them some very specific thing they should know about growing up and family and this kind of thing. So I was just to be in this this amazing world that was created 53 years ago. It's still there in Queens. I live in Queens. It's right here, the studio. So it's very exciting.
I need to say like a trivia because I will be waiting for this episode. I don't know if in Latin America if Lalo Garza still being the official voice from Elmo in Latin America. Man, he's so funny. I need to watch it because, of course, you got a lot of series that get translated to Latin America. You know what?
Yeah.
And so I will be waiting because, man, Elmo in Latin America is so funny. I will tell you, John. John, creo que sabe. Elmo sabe dónde vives.
Exactly. Those actors that play the Elmo and Cookie Monster, these guys they're very talented. They're riding along underneath on a wheeling around, and they have to do extraordinary body position to play these characters, and they're so funny. They are so funny, and very, very gifted, So I felt great being on set with them and the children. It was amazing.
The other series that always get translated, of course, is Law and Order. Here in Latin America, man, We are crazy. I always play turn on my TV and they're always, but all the seasons. But I will translate. Jhon, acá rompo la promesa. Este año va a interpretar un papá en Sesame Street.
Wow.
Entonces, y al lado de Elmo. Entonces, por eso le dije que pues espero la traducción. No sé si Lalo Garza siga. Obviamente le dije que Lalo Garza. Oh man, es que es because I telling this to Jhon because Lalo Garza in Latin America we really in fact it's like a subculture. We love the work of the voiceover people. They are celebrities, man. The ones that translate from the shows. And Lalo Garza is a big celebrity, man. He played Krillin in Dragon Ball Z. He played Elmo, and he got like 50 years, and he still got that child's voice. And so that's why we are excited because, in fact, grown ups, we watch Sesame Street only for listening his talking. So yes. Wow. Y Jhon, si puedes hablar de algo, yo sé que se viene una pregunta que ambos esperamos, pero él dice que aquí, no te va a traducir todo, ¿no? Pero él dice que le gustó mucho hacer la película porque le recordó otra faceta de su carrera que espero le preguntes, o si no, yo no. Él también es músico.
Pregúntale, por favor.
Okay, yes. Jhon, I'm thankful with Jhon because I really wanted to talk about two aspects of your career. I am the translator, but always Jhon let me do questions because you tell us about your musical career, and I was reading. Tell us more about this aspect, man. In fact, what genre? I want to listen to you. I always
sure. Yeah, I appreciate the question. In the early 2000s, I was trying to decide whether music or acting, and I decided to do both because I love them both for different reasons. And I'm more naturally a singer-songwriter. It's easier for me. I connect to that world much. It's more who I am, actually, as a singer, as a musician, as a songwriter. So because I connect to my own childhood, I have a unique upbringing here, right? My parents came from India. So they came from India, and I was raised near Chicago in the state of Indiana. So I grew up here in the 70s and 80s as first generation child, and I have a lot to write about in my music to speak to that. And you know, my parents being from India, me being from here, so a lot of the stories I write about in the music are about this kind of unique perspective of being a first generation child in America. And the name I came up with was Lolli Zan. Lolli Zan is the name of my musical act, and I put my first album out in 2006 called Ancient Girl. So since that time, I've continued to write songs and work with different musicians in New York and Los Angeles. I work here in New York and Los Angeles, and I'm now rejuvenating some of the older material, which I produce music videos for, and under a different name, Gandhi, my last name. So I'm releasing all of that material under Lolli Zan again in 2022, 2023. So on my website, you'll see lollizan.com. You'll begin to see new music content and also video content, music short form video for a song called Color Yourself, for a song called Anjali. So lollizan.com is where I'm going to put all of my original work in music and film.
We are happy as a channel because, man, we got back like a year the opportunity to interview an Indian singer. He's called Abhishek Kapoor.
Wow.
He lives there. Man, he got great music. I will listen to you because we're so happy to shine of these talents. And he's also an actor. But no, man, I'm happy for doing this question. I will ask Jhon to share, of course, the interview that we made to him. And Jhon, pues ya le dije a Abhishek, si quiere compártele. ¿Vas a preguntar o le pregunto el videojuego?
Pregúntale sobre el videojuego, por favor.
Okay, and finally, because I know Jhon, but I need to ask you this. No, I'm also a fan of the video game industry, and I read that you play a role in a video game called Latent Lava. I don't know, this video game is for what company, because I know that what I love about the video game industry is that, yes, we got the big AAA games that won a lot of billions of dollars and got big productions, but there are the indie games and showcase, and I'm reading that this video game that I didn't know, it's about like a terrorist, but like a, I don't know, it got like a really cool subject, and I see a lot of people from, I think that they're from India working.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Sure. Yeah. So when you had asked me about 2K3 and you know that, what's that? Yeah. So that time period, again, it was during the time of a lot of talk about terrorism. So Latent Lava was an opportunity for me as an actor to actually, first time I would work with filmmakers from India. So they came to the States and they had this idea to put together a sleeper cell idea of a terrorist cell in New York, in Queens was the concept, where we would be we would be playing scenarios in that video game where what was happening in the news. You know, you had small pockets of American FBI and CIA were finding pockets of terrorists in Queens, where I live, in New Jersey. And so this was an opportunity for Indian filmmakers to come to America and work with American-based talent, actors, teach me how to speak the language, get to play characters that speak Hindi and Urdu and English. And so it was exciting as an actor. It was the first time I got to speak the language my parents spoke, you know, in a movie and play, play a very devious character. So this kind of storytelling was important in that time period. So, and I'm excited it turned into a video game.
Hablarle, bueno, voy a ser muy en resumen porque esto es larguísimo, porque es que vea cómo es la vida. Yo quería entrevistar a alguien de Sharknado de la segunda parte, o sea, esto es una locura, o sea, acaba de cumplir usted un sueño que yo tenía desde hace muchos años. Yo dije, algún día tendré que hablar con alguien de Sharknado, y yo me acuerdo de usted totalmente, que tú eres el ingeniero, fin y april, como se dice en este, no, mire, yo digo, mire, sin ser fanboy, esta saga me encanta muchísimo. Yo sé que a muchos no le encanta, han sacado resúmenes que la odian, pero a mí me encanta. Yo si tuviera el presupuesto, yo me lo haría protagonista, invento un Sharknado con cocodrilos y todo, pero no. Yo quiero decirle cómo fue su experiencia en esta saga loca.
Yo primero le pregunto, ¿un Sharknado en Colombia o después créate una trama más?
En Latinoamérica,
okay, we are making like a little game here with Jhon, because man, Jhon was so excited and he's so excited because you don't know how much he loves the Sharknado saga, man. And he remembers your role you put in Sharknado 2. Man, it's crazy. I know some people hate this saga, but some people love it. And he tells me, in fact, Jhon is a filmmaker, and that he got the money. He in fact will call you for being a protagonist and for a new Sharknado. I tell Jhon that when you enter answer, when he will do it in Latin America, I don't know, because I don't know any Sharknado from Latin America. But maybe tell me, because Jhon really wanted to talk about with somebody that worked in that production, and you are the first one, so tell about Sharknado.
Well, yeah. What I can tell you, like I said, I work in Los Angeles, and here at that time I only worked in New York, and my involvement was the very final scene of the production. So, and in New York, this production company from Los Angeles rented the subway station. In order to shoot that film, we had to be there at 3 a.m. when the subway was closed, they closed that train down. It's called the S train, and it goes from Times Square to Grand Central. It's just one line. So they had to ask the city of New York to shut this line down so they could just use it for the movie. And so the scene I was in was shot in the subway, the actual subway, in that, on that train. And so the very powerful production to be able to make that happen, you know. So it was exciting. It was exciting to be involved in something that, you know, we had the subway to ourselves, so it was fun.
I need to tell that to Jhon. Jhon, lo siento, tienes que saberlo. Para esa escena final, tú te acuerdas muy bien esa escena final.
No, sí, esa escena final es crazy.
Jhon, tuvieron que cerrar, o sea, en realidad es el metro de Nueva York, la zona X, y lo grabaron a las 3 de la mañana, o sea, en realidad les dejaron grabar en el metro de Nueva York. Dice que para él era increíble, pues, porque imagínate esa producción, que mucha gente critica a Sharknado. No, Sharknado tiene la producción sota. Nada, te lo tengo que decir. Bueno, ¿qué trama vas a hacer con Nimo? ¿O la dices después?
We only had 4 hours. We had to finish all of those scenes in 4 hours because then they were going to turn on the subway again. So
you can make a movie with that little story, man. It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Es que Jhon se tuvo que grabar en 4 horas porque después tenían que prender el subway. O sea, imagínate. No, papu. Yo creo que ya puedes morir en paz.
No, yo la trama digo después, pero yo pues doy una idea, ¿no? Pues sería la criatura marina del país de origen de Nimo y de la nuestra, como una folclore, ¿no? Pero sería algo como tipo, no sé.
So Jhon said that the subject of his Sharknado with you will be like a battle of sharks from different places, man. It will be crazy. And in fact, it can be like a but this is a little trivia. Colombia got it's a sad story because of the sopo shark, sopa de tiburón. Oh man, they are killing a lot of sharks in the coast of Cartagena, and of course the activists are like, no, please don't kill it because they will, you know, them. So it will be like a great subject. I will tell Jhon, y si haces una trama, le está contando a Nimo con lo que pasa acá, que se están quejando porque están matando muchos tiburones en Cartagena por la sopa de tiburón. Ok, wow. I tell it, pero continúa.
Yo tengo...
¿Estás feliz, papu?
Sí, yo estoy muy feliz. De hecho, vea es un corto. Yo me lo vi el año antepasado, si no estoy mal. Había la plataforma de Vimeo que se podía adquirir, pues obviamente en ese tiempo yo pues aproveché, bueno, unos truquitos ahí de liberar contenido gratis, pero obviamente no se negan, pero vea, esta historia yo me la vi, yo dije, primero es muy, no sé, es muy emocionante tanto sexualmente, tanto, no sé, como profesionalmente, pero Nimo se hizo un papelazo. Yo quiero saber si en algún momento Nimo yo dice, no, yo quiero ser parte de esta historia o quisiera que haya segunda parte.
Si lo consigues, me lo pasas, porque me emocioné. Okay, I asked to Jhon that he finds again this short film because he watched it. He was telling me that when Vimeo got popular, he got all the treats to watch a lot of short films, and he watched last year a Head Scene. He said that he loved it.
You know, filmmakers that want to do something very guerrilla style and use the creativity of the crew and the cast together with a mix of improv for the actors. That were in my role, there was a lot of improv involved. So it was the first time I was in a film where the director trusted me enough to allow me to build the character even further, even more fully through the use of improv. So that was an opportunity to work very closely with the director, actually even participate in the writing of my dialogue. And we would come up with ideas off camera by working together with the other actors. So I thought what was fun about that was the director was very loose, to allow us as the actors to use our minds to help tell the story and fill in his vision. So I was excited about that opportunity. I don't know what he's planned going forward, but if he asks me again, I would consider continuing, and working with him again.
Please call Nimo back.
I have to say, I love your and Jhon's passion for film. I love it. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Man,
Yeah.
thank you. This is the best payment. This is a passion project, man. If Jhon is, man, I didn't know Jhon. I was coming back to my city. We are from Cúcuta, Colombia. It's like the border with Venezuela. And he called me when he was starting to show me, and I was, man, you really got a really great idea. Then he gave me the opportunity because the first translator happened some issues. For me, it's a passion project, man. This channel, in the moment, is not winning money, but man, I love it. I love it, and because we love it because we love movies, man, and we love series, and we love video games.
It's so clear. I watched the Bill Duke. I watched the Bill Duke episode. You did the Bill Duke. So I was enjoying watching, and I mean, right away, that's what makes it fun, because for an actor, on the actor side, you wrote the seventh art, right? I was reading the seventh art. It truly is its own art form, cinema. When I studied in theater, I thought that was acting, and that would translate to film, but it's very different. Theater and film are very different. So to be talking with people who are passionate about cinema, it's a whole different thing. It's exciting, because I want to continue doing it.
In fact, thank you, man. That day of Bill Dude, man, we were so nervous because it was like, man, this small channel is interviewing Bill, and Bill said, yes, go ahead. And man, you are making me even grow something, because I think in Cúcuta there are people like myself, like Jhon. We love cinema because it's our escape, man, and it's crazy because Cúcuta. I want to tell you something. Cúcuta is a city that leads with a lot of contraband, but it's crazy because they sell video games and movies and boots. It's crazy, and we've grown. And in fact, I want to grow about this because they told bad about contraband. And of course, it got the bad side, but it got the good side. A lot of people learn about general culture with this culture of contraband. It's crazy.
Esa serie de 911 es una locura porque obviamente hay de todo un poco y da como un poco de miedo. Entonces te quiero preguntar sobre qué opinas sobre las películas que tratan sobre historias del fin del mundo y qué opinas que podemos aprender un poco de ellas.
Okay, I think that this question is a mix of the things that you tell us before about the histories that get unraveling in New York back in the 2000s. But now we are talking about these earlier years in the series 9/11, 9/11, that of course Jhon watched it and deal somehow with terror, but in a particular way. Jhon asked that what do you think about this kind of histories? I wanna add, do you think that this is like just like the not the evolution, but the road that this kind of histories that you tell me in the 2000s become this kind of histories that we tell now in series like 9/11? I don't know, because it deals with terror. I know.
I think in general, what I've learned a lot is art imitates life, and life imitates art. So it's exciting because you can look back at this time period and watch movies, watch film, and you can get a sense of what was happening. And so and TV, like 911, I was shooting that, and that's a reflection of what's happening, in day-to-day living. It's not film-esque, it's not cinema, but it's television, and it has 1 hour to tell the story, and it's telling a modern day story, 2022, what's going on in the lives of firefighters and that small community, and what's happening. It's important storytelling still. I think it's a reflection of our times. There's heartfelt storytelling within it, and I think the job of film and television particularly now, there's just more opportunity to be creative with it. It's different than 30 years ago. There's with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, you're able to do something like Stranger Things, the TV show, series Stranger Things, or Ozark, or these are almost like we get excited when they're going to release the next season, and so I'm just excited to be part of that, whether it's network TV like 911, or it's being in a Hulu show like Kimmy Schmidt, or some of the other great episodics that are on streaming services now. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what it is for me.
No, in fact, like a little trivia, we are also excited with this new era of streaming, because you are the second person that we told that work in the center. We got the opportunity to work with Oli Haskavi. That man, he's amazing, because we talked with him before he exploded, because yes, he had worked on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, sorry, but then he appears on this series like Winning Time. Man, he's killing it, and it's crazy because I want to add something. We got interviewed before a person that worked in Northstar. We got finally a person that were in Stranger Things. It's like Dennis with. So yes, man, and it's crazy because you had appeared in yes, I remember those series of Law and Order. But I remember also this series about the Jon Stewart and Louis. But you also are appearing now in this series of the streaming. Man, how do you see this? Like this transition and big series, man. The scenery is big. And you appear there. Oli appeared here. I don't know if you share a screen with Oli, or you met him or something. Tell me your experience about the center.
Yeah, the center was great because one of my favorite actors growing up was Bill Pullman. And to get to work with him in that scene was, it was like a dream to be able to watch him work, for me to bring my best work to that scene, and also work with a really good director. Again, they gave me some leeway. They gave me some openness to tell the story in that small scene as a forensic agent. And what I noticed when I watch the TV show is very film-like. It's like watching a film every week. So that's when I began to realize that when you're looking at television in 2016, 17, 18, 19, it's changing. It's becoming like every week you come back and you're continuing to watch the film. So that was my first experience working on something that was very cinematic for a TV show, for an episodic. And you had a character like an actor like Bill Pullman playing an important role, a great movie star coming in playing on a TV series it was great, And so I think that show is lasting too. It keeps coming back. So it has something that's really it's a very strong story that they can keep building on. So I was just lucky. I felt very lucky to be on it.
Man, it's crazy. I was reading the IMDb from Oli. Man, when we interviewed him, I mean, this year, and we didn't know about that. He were he works now in the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, yes, in Winning Time and Queer as Folk, but man, now Christopher Nolan called him from Oppenheimer. Wow, man. But we are, yeah, that's awesome. And in fact, I want to ask you this is the first interview that you made from outside, because we want to know, and we know that, man, it will be a time that you will remember, as you will be doing even bigger roles, and you will say, wow, I talked with these two crazy guys from Colombia. And now here I am.
To you too. I imagine you're going to keep moving.
Wow.
Yeah, you have a lot of passion, which is great.
Jhon, dale, emocionado.
Bueno, yo quiero finalizar con esta pregunta que sí paga como para poder saber, primero, cómo en una palabra define tu experiencia siendo el taxi driver en una escena de John Wick Parabellum y también en tu escena de BlackList.
As a final question, defining one word, your experience. We know this is an uncredited role, man, but this is a big movie, so it's great to know some about your experience working as a cab driver and John Wick 3 Parabellum, man. I'm still waiting for the fourth part. And of course, tell us in one word your experience working on the BlackList. In fact, we got the opportunity here to talk with Charles Baker. Amazing. So it's a project that we really love. So in a word, your role or your experience in John Wick 3 Parabellum and the BlackList.
Yeah, they're two very different experiences. John Wick 3, unfortunately, the scene I was to do working with Keanu Reeves, driving the taxi with he and the dog, it did not happen. So, but I went on the set. I watched them create rain on Wall Street. Massive, so as somebody who loves film, I got to watch them create rain. It was quite a spectacle. So I was there for that. I met, some great people, but unfortunately, that scene did not include me. I didn't even get to shoot the scene. So it happens, sometimes things, don't work out. Now on BlackList, it was great. I was on set at 8 a.m. On the west side in Manhattan, on Chelsea Pier. I got to meet all the lead actors, and I got to play a very good character being interrogated. And I enjoyed that scene, especially for a show that is so loved, and every year it comes back, that I was excited just to have an opportunity to be on it, And a couple of others, I'm playing stereotypical Indian character, right? In each of those. And so that's where the culture and where I was, and I played those characters, a vendor, a taxi driver, a terrorist. But now in my career and in America, they look at an Indian guy very differently. I'm playing different characters, like in Kimmy Schmidt, the episode of Kimmy Schmidt. I'm playing a guy that's pretty fun guy, a technologist and kind of wild, and it's fun because it's not just being Indian. You only play these characters. It's opened up. So I'm excited to keep working.
Yo creo que un aplauso.
Sí.
Bravo.
Thank you.
The camera is yours, man. Send a hi to Colombia, to the people that is watching. Tell your social media so people can follow you. And if you want to talk about something that is coming ahead, besides, of course, or invite people to keep tuning your episode in Sesame Street, go ahead, man. The camera is yours.
Okay, I really appreciate it. And again, it's fun to talk with you because you're so into film and television and music. So for me, where I want to take my career is continue to challenge myself in Los Angeles and here and really anywhere in the world with characters that are unique in that they have the ability to sort of fit in. I don't know if you know, there's an actor, there's an actor, Bob Odenkirk. So I've always looked at Bob, and his work is so long, and he can play in a dramatic, and he can bring comedy into a drama, very dark comedy. He can also be in a very fun, traditional comedy. But there's something so unique in what he does. He brings himself to each role, and it's Bob Odenkirk. But it doesn't matter if it's a TV series like Better Call Saul or it's a movie or, and I've always admired what he does. And I would like to have a career like that, working in TV, film, and also continue writing music and producing music. So I hope people will follow what I do on Lolli Zan. That's my personal project. I'll continue to produce music video content, short film, and write more songs. And so that's where I can bring my full personality. Everything I came from a background in sales and technology and engineering, but me as an artist, it's been a 20-year journey, and I think a lot of that is captured in what I do with Lolli Zan. So I would say that's where my story will continue, and hopefully directors will keep wanting to work with me for national TV and film.
Please share us the links from Lolli Zan because we really want to see it.
Yeah.
If you want it, you can share us later when Jhon writes it to you. And
sure.
The actress is Celeste Oliva. A big hi to Celeste. We will later upload the interview. And man, we will take a picture so we can share to the social media. This
Thank you.
Gave us a smile. Thank you so much, Nimo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Andres and Jhon, pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is ours, man.
I'll tell people to follow and subscribe to your YouTube channel, right?
Please, man. We need to grow those numbers because it's crazy. We still don't have the 400 followers, but now some videos got like 5,000 views, so it's crazy. But no, man, the project is full of lot. I know there are very, very long interviews, but it's crazy because now we got interviews in Spanish, in English, in Japanese, man. I don't know how Jhon made it, but
it's amazing, because it's a world market. You're doing something that includes the whole world, which is very brave. It's very brave, So I will let people know as soon as I will link the video, the interview, and I'll let my social media, acting, music, all the community in LA and New York, I'll let them know, and thank you for including me.
No, man, and it's great because finally the only continent that we still don't got people is Antarctica, but we got people from interviewers from all the continents, man. Africa, Oceania, Asia.
Wow.
So man, thank you for being part of this beautiful project, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a lovely night.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
God bless you. Bye.
God bless. Thank you.
God bless. Dios te bendiga.